So, day 11 on my COVID journey. And this is day 11 from the start of my symptoms. Um, like I said in one of my previous videos, everyone is going to have a different experience. Some will have no symptoms, and some will have all of the ones on the list and then some. I can speak to that. There was one that I did not experience at all on the list that I usually discuss with patients, and that's vomiting. But unless I have food poisoning, I don't vomit, so that's really not surprising. I just finished my breathing treatment, my morning breathing treatment, which is something that I never expected to be a phrase that I would ever say in my life. I never hoped to. I hope that it is not long standing after this is done. But after my last video or videos that were rather darker, dealing with the emotional aspects, I wanted to give you some things to make sure that you have handy as well in order to track your progress or lack thereof, so that you know if you are improving and in what aspects you are improving. Also to help so that you know which medications you may or may not need to continue or to start if you aren't already taking them. So, first thing, thermometer. I highly recommend one that is that you can put under your arm. So either if it has a setting that's axillary or underneath your arm, or if it's just oral like this one, this is a very basic thermometer that you can get at any grocery store, and you just turn it on, and then once it's processed, once it's ready to start intaking your data, place it in the middle of your armpit. I'm not sure if you can see that. So, like right there. And keep your arm down on it. You're not going to get an accurate reading if you just hardly put it into the crease, or if you don't hold still where it's wiggling around. Make sure that if you put it under your arm and it is not an oral setting, you have to add 0.5 to a full degree in order to have an accurate reading compared to an oral temperature. Whew. Okay, the next thing that you should always have handy when you are isolated and needing to track your own health: a pulse oximeter. This tracks your pulse and your oxygen saturation in your blood. Luckily, mine has been good throughout this process, ranging usually between 96 and 99% on room air. Sorry, I'm still a little shaky from my breathing treatment. So, and the way that you work it, it's best to put it on one of these two fingers. Most people stick out their pointer finger. There's less oxygen in your pinky, the thumb. It doesn't get a good fit, but this actually is not the best finger to use. The best fingers to use are these two. So pick whichever one, and you want to put your nail side on the same direction as the screen. Keep in mind, if you are wearing fake nails or nail polish, it is not going to get the best reading possible. So you just turn it on however it needs, and the where it says beats per minute or heart per minute, that's your pulse. Mine is a little elevated. It's at 104. And then it says percent. Oh, geez. I need to get my vision checked. Saturation of oxygen. And it's at 98%. So, the more important number is going to be your oxygen saturation. You know, with my patients, I never got too excited as long as they were 90 or above on room air, or if they were on their oxygen. Now, if you are satting or your oxygen saturation level is down in the 80s and deep breathing exercises are not improving this at all, that's something to be concerned about. Also, keep in mind everyone has their own base levels. Not anywhere in the world am I saying that an oxygen saturation of 89, a base level, is good, but unfortunately for some of my patients who are COPD patients or emphysema patients, they're on multiple liters of oxygen all the time, and they're lucky to keep it at 89 or 90, even with their oxygen. So, with that being said, though, you usually want it above 92% on room air. That's ideal. But, I mean, obviously, ideal would be 100%, but all of your vital signs change with a moment's notice. If you see an abnormal result, whether you're checking your blood pressure or your pulse or your oxygen saturation, don't freak out. That simply means that either the machine misread it or your body was in a momentary and or potentially not momentary level of distress. So you just have to sit down, take a few deep breaths. Usually oxygen saturation will rectify itself right away with that. That should also help the top number of your blood pressure. The top number changes quite frequently with just about anything affecting it. So does your blood sugar. What you're thinking about, what you're stressed about, what you're eating, what you're not eating, what you're drinking, what you're not drinking, the activity level that you're doing, whether you just woke up. I mean, if you've been outside, you know, everything can affect the readings of your vital signs. So just keep that in mind, that they can change with a moment's notice. They can improve so long as you give it time and a chance to do so. Doesn't mean that it will, but it can. Another thing to keep on hand: Vicks VapoRub. When you can't breathe, when you're coughing, applying some to your chest, some below your nose. You're not supposed to put it in your nose, but some people do. And certainly, no matter what you practice or believe, certainly don't put it on a Q-tip and stick it up your nose. That if you do put it in your nose, maybe just inside the nostril, but absolutely don't stick it way up into your almost reaching up into your sinus cavity. This is very strong stuff, and no, don't do that. It could hurt. Another thing that has been a lifesaver for me is the doTERRA Deep Blue Rub. As I had mentioned in a previous video, my neck pain has been excruciating. Obviously, throughout this, I have not been able to have my regular chiropractic care. I did what everyone should do and was fully transparent with my with all of my practitioners, my primary care physician, my chiropractor, anyone who you are going to be getting care from anytime soon. They should know your COVID status so that they can determine whether you are safe to come into the office or not for their safety and yours, because it's not just about thinking about other people. You do also have to realize that you are in a significantly immunocompromised state when you have COVID or when you are fighting any virus or disease. With that being said, you are susceptible to acquiring other things because, like I mentioned on another video, you can get more than just COVID. If you have COVID, that doesn't mean, oh, I have COVID, that's all I'm going to have. If you're exposed to other things in the meantime, then you can get other things added on top of it. So don't. These have also been a lifesaver. They're you can use them below your feet. You can lay on them. Some people would call these painful. So you may want to use tennis balls instead and put those inside of a long sock. And then these spikes won't go into your skin so abruptly. But it's completely up to your preference and what you have handy. Another thing that has been very helpful in gauging my lung capacity and lung health has been something that is very difficult to get when you are at all, unless you just recovered from surgery, and they give these out like candy in hospitals. It's called an incentive spirometer. As you notice, I also put a Ziploc on that when I'm not using it. So, I have found, unfortunately, that if you want one of these, you either have to go and buy one off of Amazon or some other source, or you have to have a prescription to get it. And most pharmacies don't carry these. You would have to go to a medical equipment store, and they gouge you with the cost. And frankly, doctors' offices are not familiar with people asking for one of these. Before I worked in pulmonary, I knew the benefits of this. I worked in post-op, I've worked in med-surg with geriatric patients, chemotherapy, rehab, pulmonary patients. No matter what, if you have any sort of lung capacity concern or issue, this is a wonderful tool that no patient likes to see somebody coming toward them with. But I know it to be a good tool to increase your lung capacity, and so I wanted one. If you get one from Amazon, in the package should also come instructions and or a chart with the brain fog is still a thing. Essentially measuring your lung capacity, and it measures it by age and height to determine what, and also your gender, in order to determine what your ideal goal should be, so that you're not trying to blow out your lungs trying to get to something that really isn't realistic. So with my age and height, I'm supposed to be at 2350, so 2350. And so I put the measure up to that. You'll notice that some of these come, oh dear Lord, some of these come with something like this, where it moves, and but also sometimes it's just a little blue ball. I don't know how well you can see that, but it's best to have it right here. So you should not be doing this huge. That is not a good measure of your lung capacity at all. That's just force that you're using, and it's not truly going all the way down into your lungs. It's trying to measure how full all of your lung capacity is from the top lobe down to the bottom. So it's best if you do it slow and controlled. And that's why it says that this is the best. And then, so it's good if you're inhaling too aggressively. It's better if you're not doing it so much, and then it's best, again, if it's slow. So this is one round. And you take a deep breath, a few deep breaths in and out, and then you give one last exhale out, and it's measuring when you're breathing in. So this isn't to blow into. This is to measure your inhale only. So we'll try one and see how it goes. So I don't think it quite got up to this. With this one, I don't know if you can see, it has a line, and that's what you should really be measuring from. This line right here, not the top of the whatever that is. So I'm sorry, that really my articulation is not good, but so anyway, those are some things that are very good tools to both measure your progress and also help determine if and when you can start to cut back on some of the other medications that you may be taking, depending on what they are. Take them. The goal is to take them if you need them, but if you don't need them, don't take them. You want your body to have as much help through this as possible, because the goal is to stay out of the hospital. But I am also a strong proponent for taking as little medication as is needed to address your symptoms. So as long as your symptoms are being addressed and controlled, that's the right amount to take. And absolutely never, ever take more of a medication than is prescribed or recommended on the dosage, on the bottle, box, tube, whatever it is that you're taking. Well, this is a very long one, and I apologize. Have a wonderful day.